What is going on, people? You know that sound, the Unfiltered band means, yes, another episode of Unfiltered coming your way right here, right now. Officially, this will go down as episode number 235, Yamamoto to Hollywood, and what it means for all of the teams involved. All of that coming your way right here. And thank you to the Unfiltered band. You can find us 24/7, 365, the Unfiltered Revolution. Jump on board, artist formerly known as Twitter. Get into the bio at Casey Stern up on the top. Jump on the YouTube channel, get all 234 into 235 now episodes, all the conversations, the interviews, the rants, the guests, and all of that. And, of course, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts, where most of you are listening or with us right now. Last night was the night it started to kind of pick up steam late Thursday that Yamamoto was close to making a decision. Teams like the Giants and others might be out. And perhaps it was coming down, as we all thought, to the two teams in New York and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And in the end, the two teams that needed him most miss out. And the team that was already rich gets richer, unless you're considering the money that they're about to spend. None deferred in this case. And total now between Ohtani and Yamamoto of over $1 billion. Just in case you didn't hear that correctly, that is over $1 billion. We thank our sponsor here. Not $1 billion, although that would be nice. Bet Online, your number one source for all your sports betting needs. Latest odds, lines, and matchup reports. Baseball, basketball, boxing, football, golf. They got everything you need. Bet Online continues to be the fastest and easiest way to get all your wagers, live betting, favorite casino and card games. They're all available to play right now from your phone. So get over to the website, use your mobile device, and sign up today. Get in on all this action. Remember, though, to use the promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. Get your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. It is Bet Online where the game starts as we get started here right now. 12 years, $325 million, the big signing bonus, the posting fee, all the money accrued, $375 million spent, and over now $1 billion total for the Dodgers between Ohtani and Yamamoto, who now will rejoin each other as teammates as they were in the World Baseball Classic, which went well for them, clearly. Want to get into all the particulars. We're going to talk about what this means for the deal, for the Dodgers, for the league. Get into the Mets and the Yankees, and some of the craziness that I'm seeing on Twitter that has driven me just bananas over the last 24 hours, or I guess less than that at this point, as I do this here on the live side of it at, 9:30 in the morning on a Friday. Yamamoto has never pitched in the big leagues. Yoshinobu Yamamoto has never pitched, not a single pitch in the big leagues. And he just became the highest paid pitcher ever in Major League Baseball. Well, why? Because enough people with enough statistics and enough analytics and enough eyes and enough scouting and enough of a brain, enough intelligence have put eyes on this individual at the overseas level, the international level, the stuff level, the person-to-person in the meeting level, and everything coming up roses. There is no doubt that the stuff is top A level, and that doesn't just mean number one in a rotation. We're talking about ace in Major League Baseball stuff, and aces are hard to come by. There will be 30 number ones in rotations who will start opening day. There are usually somewhere between 7 and 10 max aces total that deserve that claim and staking that next to their name in Major League Baseball each year in year out, and Yamamoto on that list. He's got that stuff to be that. No guarantee. So you got all these people who are sitting there and say, the same people who wanted him to be on your team, so like Mets and Yankee fans or whatever team you root for, you wish that you paid for him. But now these same people are out there and saying, oh, well, how could you give the Dodgers are idiots for giving all that money to a guy who never pitched at the big league level. You're just jealous, okay? Can we just admit it? You're just jealous. You wish that he was on your team. I wish that he was on the Mets. You wish whatever team you root for, okay, at the end of the day, you wish that he was on your team. Let's not pretend that we don't think this guy's a dude, because he's a dude. And you want to talk about dudes, the rotation this year, which now has, and I said yesterday, tweeted out it basically the Monstars now, the Dodgers, okay? Like from Space Jam. But you got to look at their rotation now, and you already going to add in Yamamoto and Glass now to the front. And by the way, hey, Walker Buehler and the rest of what they got, and they're probably going to go get more. But in 2025, when everybody healthy and on down the line, and Ohtani in that thing, Ohtani, Yamamoto, and Buehler, and on down the line, and are you crazy when you look at this team with a lineup, by the way, hello, that's got Betts and Freeman and Ohtani and everybody else in it, and Muncy, Will Smith, and Gavin Lux, and on down the line. The Los Angeles Dodgers are the favorites to win the World Series. There is no question about that. They will be villains to a lot of people because of the money they spent, even though a lot of the markets in which they'll be villains are the same markets that wanted their teams to spend more. We're going to get to the Mets. You got Met fans complaining, I can't believe we didn't spend $375, $400 million. You needed to way overpay to get this guy. How the hell could you not do that when you had a chance to do so? Thinking all these people are going to complain, but at the end of the day, the Dodgers, while there's no guarantee, and certainly no guarantee they're going to win a World Series, and how many World Series is going to be worth it to go spend over $1 billion? I don't know. Some people sitting and tweeting out last night, well, they got to win 2 to 3 World Series. Like, when are you coming up with these numbers? I don't know how many World Series they got to win, but I got to tell you something. They're going to make a lot of money, because they might have spent a lot of money. But you think people coming in the ballpark, you think the rights to their games, you think it's sponsorships, you think about all the brand and the amount of money that's going to be worth and all of that, and what you're reeling in from the overseas market. And we could go on forever on the business end that nobody wants to talk about, that you're getting from Ohtani and you're getting from Yamamoto. I mean, the Dodgers not losing $1 billion. They're not throwing out in the water and going out in the river. They didn't put it out to pasture, that billion that they spent or will spend. None of it deferred here. Most of it with Ohtani. Still more money to spend. Still more money to spend. The Dodgers were always the choice in the Ohtani sweepstakes because they were the common sense choice. And if you're being honest here, and if you're a Met fan or a Yankee fan, the two teams that missed out, and I said this, you can go back to my podcast I did with Mark Feinsand, join me. He and I both agreed, and we discussed this at the beginning of the Yamamoto sweepstakes, or any other time that I brought it up, and I'm not alone. The two teams in New York needed this guy the most. The Mets had a chance to take a flyer on a Hail Mary on getting Yamamoto and trying to be relevant this season, in addition to what it did down the road, in a season that they're going to have no relevance in 2024. And the Yankees were looking at like a put over the edge, go win the AL East. The Monstars are here. We're the evil empire again, yada, yada, after they had Soto already come in. And now this guy joining Cole, who just won a Cy Young, inside your rotation, and what that would mean at the front end, and the other guys they could sign, and what it would mean for money and all of that, okay? So those are the two teams that needed him the most. Always. But if you go back to common sense, and I ask you, if you're being like, you're just being honest with yourself, if you're Yamamoto and you were Yamamoto in this case, where would you go? All right. I'm a New Yorker. I've lived in LA. I lived there for 3 years, but I'm a New Yorker. I'm not trying to give you New York versus LA. You want to argue with me about what area you're from? You can go ahead and do all that. I'm talking about the fact, if you're Yamamoto, you know the relationship with Ohtani. They already played together in the World Baseball Classic. They're friends. How much more comfortable that's going to make it for him, having never played in the States, to have Ohtani on the team. And oh, by the way, you got Ohtani on the team. And oh, by the way, you got Betts and you got Freeman and everybody else. And you got the story and the team. And you're out in Hollywood. And you're coming over here to go basically to be a star that is transcending baseball and doing it in the place that is the best place to do that. Where else would you go at anywhere close to even money? And by the way, what was the number going to be? You know, these Met fans who have come out specifically with, well, Steve Cohen didn't overpay enough. I mean, that is just dumb. First of all, let's understand this, because a lot of Met fans don't. The Mets made the highest offer. Oh, they needed to make the highest offer. They did. They made the highest offer. They made the highest offer of $325 when the Yankees were sitting there at $300. And at the time, the Dodgers reportedly sitting there at $300. The Dodgers were given a chance to match. They matched it, and then Yamamoto snatched it up and said, that's enough. He didn't go back to the Mets and said, hey, what do you got? Because he didn't want to go to the Mets. This is the part Met fans don't understand. This is the part they have not understood during this whole offseason, that there's something in your brains that's like cheese is frozen in there and you can't get it out. They don't want to play for you. Now, it seems crazy because we said that like your whole life. And then you had, Max Scherzer, even though it was a lot of money, like nobody ever would have taken that money normally. And you're right. And Justin Verlander, you can go on. But a lot's happened in 2 years and nobody wants to play for you anymore. And you're not the Yankees like you never were the Yankees. And that's just the way it is. You're not the Yankee brand. You're not the Yankee spice of coming over to be a Yankee. You're not as good as the team as the Yankees are. They're going to go to New York. He'd go to the Yankees in the first place. Juan Soto going to be a Met in the offseason? No, he's not. If Juan Soto's a free agent, the hell you think? You don't have any idea how the Yankees treat players? He's not going to leave there unless he's leaving there. If he's leaving New York, he's not leaving there to come to you. He's not playing in your outfield. Wake the hell up, people. Seriously, get a reality check and wake the hell up. Can he not playing for you either? Wake up. Stop hurting your own feelings by getting drowned into this whole thing. Like you think that, somehow all these great things are coming. They're not. Now, Steve Cohen did the best he could. He threw all of the eggs into the basket because, by the way, Yamamoto wasn't going to make the Mets this year nearly as good as he would have made the Yankees this year and nearly as good as he's going to make the Dodgers this year. And Cohen was still all into it for $325 million. I'm not saying everything Steve Cohen's done has been perfect. I'm not saying everything Steve Cohen has done had been the greatest thing in the world, and you haven't won the World Series, and he said we're going to win in 3 to 4 years, and people get mad at that. Like, what the hell is he supposed to say? We're not going to win for 15 years? Wake up. Seriously. Why does it get me so aggravated, and Met fans are going to get mad at me? Because I've been one of you my whole life, and it makes me sad to be one of you when some of you act so dumb. Like, wake up. Seriously. Your team is not any good. I had somebody tell me yesterday, it's dumb narrative that I was saying that it was a Hail Mary flyer that they were going to try and be relevant this season, and Yamamoto would have put them there because of what he would have done, and him and Senga. Now you look at the rotation, we get all that, or at least a chance to be that. But no, they could be that way anyway. Really? Have you looked at your bullpen? First of all, we haven't seen Diaz pitch in the big leagues, coming up with a very serious injury, and have you seen what's leading up to him? Did you look at the names? Does it look like they're tooling up to go win big? Have you seen the Braves roster? You have any idea the discrepancy between the two of your rosters? Forget about who's playing third base or who's going to be in the DH or needing another outfielder, missing 2 bats, not knowing if Alonso is going to be there long term, the back end of your rotation, and I could go on forever. Are you first-year manager? Like, are you crazy? I'm not saying they can't be like in a wild card race. Because, by the way, as long as they're around a 500 team, you're going to be in there because everybody in there in the league. But to act like now, and that's at the high end, but to act like they're going to be what are they going to be? Like, pay attention, people. Are you serious? Are you serious? So, from a Mets standpoint, it's like, what did you expect Steve Cohen to do? Now, could he have offered $400 million? And would Yamamoto have come there? The Dodgers going to match at $400 million? No, probably not. He could have thrown $400 million out, and the Dodgers probably not going to match at $400 unless Yamamoto really couldn't stand the dinner he had with Steve Cohen. I'm not saying that's the case, right? They're not going to do that. But, okay, you take $400 million. You wanted to pay $400 million? You just sat there complaining about all the money that Steve Cohen spent that went by the wayside and went into certain players that didn't work and all this stuff. And now you think that with all the holes I just mentioned in your roster, your best modus operandi, your course of action, your way to go, your path to get there and to be consistent and sustainable there is to spend $400 million on this player when everybody else wasn't willing to spend $325 or more, and the Yankees were $100 million behind that. We'll get to them. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, no, that wouldn't have made a lot of sense. Now, look, he got what's the reason? Well, Steve Cohen's got all the money in the world. Okay, great. Where did that get them when he spent all the money? Did you see where it got them? And he tried to spend 320 some odd million, whatever it was, on Correa. That didn't work. Did we see where it got him? Or were you not paying attention to that? I mean, sometimes you got to think, right? What was he supposed to do? Now, if the Dodgers were 325 and they came back to the Mets and said, hey, what else you got? And they're like, no, we're not going to 326. Well, then that's stupid at that point when you're in it that much with a shot. But they weren't even one of the two finalists, if you believe reports, and they were $25 million ahead of the Yankees, which means they got used to get that extra $25 million from the Dodgers. Wake up. You're not a destination right now, okay? You're not a bad place to go. Like you're like it's like you go to Myrtle Beach on vacation would be fine, but I'd rather be in Bora Bora. Are you understanding me or not? Now, the Yankees are where, to me, if you're looking at the two New York teams, this is where you should have more anger. Most of it's on the Met fan side, which is just hilarious. But it should be on the Yankee fan side because the Yankees should have absolutely offered more. The Yankees should have offered $350 to try and get this done. The Yankees should have been the ones bidding at the Dodgers, not the Mets, to go get $325 and go more because of what he would have done, because you're trying to sell Juan Soto to stay after this year, and look at what this guy would do to now with him and Cole in the rotation and all of that. Because you're trying to make up for all the years of losing, because you're the Yankees, for crying out loud, and you said, you're back. We're back, baby. This could be the old empire. We're going to be evil. We're going to be doing those things. And if you're going to do those things, you got to be able to pitch at the front end. And what this guy would do as far as a difference maker is huge. That's where, to me, if you're a New York fan, you should be mad. If you're a Yankee fan, not a Met fan, if you're a Met fan, you should almost golf clap the fact that Steve Cohen did everything he could and realize you wouldn't have chosen you over the Yankees or Dodgers either. If you're a Yankee fan, there's understandably, I think, reasons to be upset, because why are you holding tight at 300? Say, no, we go to 300 million. But we are not going to we'll go to 300 million for a player who's never pitched in the big leagues, but we're not going to 325 because that is just past where we will go. And for all the things that we could do, we're not going to do that because we're not going to go to 325, but we'll go to 300. I mean, really? Is that really where you're at? I don't understand that. That doesn't hold water, to use the My Cousin Vinny line, if you're me. All right? If I'm a Yankee fan, I'd be pretty perturbed, to say the least. Now, unlike the Mets, who are now going to go into the middle market and not do much, the Yankees could still go look at the Snells of the world, and I don't think Montgomery coming back, or who knows what, or go into trade, and they could do also, you certainly could look that avenue if they want and try and upgrade their pitching. They're going to be more aggressive than the Mets are going to be, but the Yankees holding at 300 to me is much more of a question of why the Mets didn't go to 400, which to me, how could you even ask that question? Yankee fans, I think, got more of a gripe. But, people in baseball are going to sit there and say, well, it's bad for the game and it's all this other stuff. Look, you can't, whether it's Steve Cohen doing it with the Mets, whether it's the Yankees in the olden days, whether it's the Dodgers now, if you got a way that teams can spend money, and if their ownership is willing to put all of their money in the basket and say, we want to go and win, isn't that what you want? Because the rest of us are just jealous. That's what we want for all the teams. And no, it's impossible in the sport for the Tampa Bay Rays to go ahead and do what we just saw. I mean, you got teams that'll never spend in total what we just saw spent in a week and a half by the Dodgers. How you fix that? System problem. Did the Dodgers do anything wrong? No. They did everything right here. I mean, the way they got Ohtani, the way they did it deferred, jumping here on Yamamoto, they got to win. They got to win at a high level. They got all kinds of pressure to go win, and they got to get World Series kind of winning, right? And I don't know what the hell they're going to do when it gets to the Bonilla times a million level with Ohtani, because the Dodgers going to be like the worst team in the league for like 12 years at some point. I mean, I have no idea how they're going to do it. So sustainability going to be what it's going to be. But while you got what you got, the getting going to be good in Los Angeles. Met fans, wake up and realize reality. Yankee fans, get a little bit more mad than you've been. Dodger fans, enjoy that Bora Bora hut, because, wow, that team going to be good. Always good to have you Unfiltered, brought to you by our good friends at BetOnline.